Hello, this is Mrs. Taylor, and I'm going to show you how to go over the fourth section on this worksheet. The directions say, given a term in an arithmetic sequence and the common difference, find the first 5 terms and the explicit formula. So I am going to find the explicit formula first, because if I were to start with this term, which says 38, this is the 38th term, and count backwards to get to the first 5 terms, that would take a while. So instead I'm going to get the formula first and then use that to find the first 5 terms. So this one's a little different. They didn't give me the initial term, they gave me the 38th term. So I'm going to have to work a little bit backwards, where I'm going to plug in values for n this time and solve for a sub 1, because our general formula for an explicit formula is a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 all times d. And what we've been doing is plugging in d and a sub 1 and we're done. Well, we don't have a sub 1 this time. We have to solve for it. So, using the information they gave me, a sub 38, this is number 10, a sub 38 equals negative 53.2 and d equals negative 1.1. So I'm going to plug that information into my explicit formula. A sub 38 means n equals 38. So I'm going to substitute 38 into my equation. And then I'm also going to substitute d. That would be negative 1.1. And I can go even further, because a sub 38 equals negative 53.2. So I can replace this entire variable here with that number. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. 38 minus 1, which is 37. So 37 times negative 1.1 is negative 40.7. And if I'm solving for a sub 1, it's negative 40.7. I want to move it to the other side of the equal sign. So I would do the opposite operation. So if it's plus negative, that means I want to add the positive 40.7 to both sides. So that would be negative 53.2 plus 40.7, which is negative 12.5. So my general explicit formula for this sequence, now I have my a sub 1 and my d value, would be a sub n equals a sub 1, which is negative 12.5, plus n minus 1 times d, which is negative 1.1. And whenever we're creating the explicit formula, we want to simplify. So I'm going to distribute the negative 1.1. That would become positive 1.1 here. And so I combine my constants, negative 12.5 plus 1.1. That becomes negative 11.4. And so I would have a sub n equals, and I'm going to move the negative 1.1 n to the front, minus 11.4. So my explicit formula I have now created is here, and I need to check it. And the way I can check it is I know what the 38th term should be. Excuse me. So I can plug 38 into the equation for n and see if I get negative 53.2. So negative 1.1 times 38 minus 11.4. And I do get negative 53.2. So I know my formula is correct. And now I know the initial term. So I have 2 choices. I can either take my initial term and add negative 1.1 to generate my sequence, or I can use the formula over and over again. I think the simple way to do it is just add my common difference each time. So negative 12.5 is my first term, and then adding negative 1.1 would give me negative 13.6, and then negative 14.7, and I'm just adding negative 1.1 each time to generate the sequence. And one more to go. I'm going to include my little ellipses there, and I have the first 5 terms in my sequence. So direction's one of the first 5 terms, the explicit formula. I have those 2 things there, so now I'm done.